Hi, it's Hani from Haniela's here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's cookie decorating tutorial, we are going to make beautiful festive Christmas door cookies. I'm going to share with you all the little steps and secrets. So without further ado, let's get started with today's tutorial on how to make Christmas door cookies. Before you can begin the decorating process, you need to prepare your real icing, prepare cookies, and also make a template if you are using a template. You can find this template in my template shop. Link is in the description box under the video. I'm going to start by spreading thin layer of icing onto my cookie, and we're going to divide the cookie so we can spread blue icing on the top and then red icing on the bottom. The blue icing is where the transom is going to be, and the red icing is where the door and door panels will be. Use a spatula or a small spreader to spread the icing across like so, and after you're done with this step, we are going to let the icing dry, which will take maybe 30-40 minutes or so depending on your climate. You can also make different colored doors. If you decide to do different colored doors, the only thing you have to change is the bottom. You will keep the blue section, but then change if you're making green door, don't use red icing, use green icing instead. And now once the icing dries, we can use the template, and I'm using my scribe tool, scratching the surface of the icing very gently, just so I have an outline and I can see where to pipe my icing. And scribe tool works really well for this because of it has a very sharp tip. All right, we are almost there, and now we're going to decorate the panels. So I'm going to pipe inside of that outline we made using 20-second consistency real icing. You need to pipe these rectangles and then shape them with your scribe tool. If you are new to cookie decorating and you're struggling with the red color, I always recommend that colors that are dark, like red color, black, or even brown and purple, and if you'd like to achieve really vibrant orange, I suggest that you let your icing rest, and then the color develops and you won't have to use as much food coloring. So let's say you color your icing, red icing, to the point where it's very dark pink, like pinkish red, and then let it rest overnight, and you will see that the color deepens and darkens, and it eliminates the excessive use of food coloring also, and you'll be so much more pleased with the color you have. Now that I did all the panels, we can start working on the transom. And now we're going to outline and flood the whole thing with red icing. And you can see I'm just piping straight lines following the scratched outline here, so I can keep this 90-degree angle. And now outline, and we're going to fill this in with red. And you can see I'm squeezing my piping bag. More icing is coming out, so I can fill in these sections quickly. And I suggest using icing that is 15 to 20. If you can use 20, if you're fast enough, 20 would be ideal. But 15 to 20 should be fine. And then with your scribe tool, you You can agitate and smooth the icing, accentuate the corners. If you see any gaps, you need to fill these in at this moment while the icing is still wet. So now we have 2 layers of icing. We have the first layer, that's the thin layer that we did with the spatula, and then this is the second layer, and we are going to have a third layer to complicate things. So after your icing dries, or at least crust, you can add the third layer, and this means I'm outlining the doors, and I'm also going to outline each panel. And for this you can use soft piping consistency icing. Oops, there's a little air bubble that caused all this trouble, so no problem, you can lift the icing off the cookie and then start over. There's no need to panic. Now I'm going to outline transom, and we also need a doorknob, and this is going to be a mail slot or door letter slot. So I'm using black, about 20-second consistency here. And now we can do the trim. I really think the trim makes the whole cookie. So I'm using white real icing. This is about 20-second consistency here. We're going to make a trim around the door. So the idea is to do the outline first and then fill this outline with icing. If you are experiencing heavy cratering when you're working with icing, I suggest that you pipe a support line in the middle of this narrow section first, let it crust, and then pipe the icing over it. This is going to help mitigate the cratering problem. And now with the scribe tool, you can see I have some gaps there, so I need to heal those, and I'm using my scribe tool to move the icing. We're going to let this crust, and then we can add additional details on the top. So this is going to be, so we have first layer of icing, second, third, so this is the fourth layer. Fourth layer of icing in this design. So here I'm just adding some lines, and then at the top I will add a small panel like this, and we're gonna fill it with icing. So I understand there is a lot of steps in this project, but you can simplify, you can eliminate some of the steps and make it your own. And now to finish the trim, I'm going to add lines, 3 lines on each side, each section. And again, I suggest using icing that is a soft piping consistency here. If you have to do a lot of these and a lot of these lines, it's just easier on your hands to be working with icing that is softer, so you don't have to put so much pressure on the piping bag. And also with softer piping consistency, you don't have a lot of the spikes that you can experience with thicker consistency. Now to prepare the wreath, you can either use pre-made wreath or you can use sprinkles. or you can make your own wreath with green royal icing. And I've got this handy template. It actually comes with the door template that you can use. And I'm using green royal icing, thicker piping consistency. And I've got my piping bag fitted with a round piping tip. And I'm just going around using beaded, kind of beaded border technique, or teardrop shapes to create my wreath. You can use piping tip number 2 or 3. And to make these a bit more festive, because they look kind of blah, just being green, you can add some green, you can add some red dots using red icing, about 22nd or soft piping consistency, and also some yellow for the lights. Once the wreath, your wreath decoration dries, you can remove it from the acetate, and these are ready to be attached. So to attach these onto the cookie, I'm just using a little bit of icing on the back of my transfer and very gently gluing it on top of the door. And the very last thing is the painting. We're going to paint the edge of the letter slot with gold luster dust. And that's how you can make these festive Christmas door cookies. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Merry Christmas to everyone, and I will see you next time.